In the heart of the bustling city, under the neon lights of a busy night market, a single bowl of soup simmered on a street cart. In that bowl lay a secret so dark that a single taste could silence a voice forever. On a warm, humid evening in Umoja City, the crowded market hummed with life. Vendors shouted prices, the clatter of dishes filled the air, and the aroma of fried plantains and spicy stews tempted passers-by. But one stall stood apart from the rest, a humble cart run by a mysterious woman known only as Adisa. No one knew where Adisa came from or how she always had enough food to feed the city's throngs. Every evening at the same time, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Adisa's cart would appear in the center of the market, its battered wooden panels adorned with symbols from old traditions. With a quiet smile and eyes that seemed to hold an ancient story, she began serving food. Her offerings were unlike anything else. One night it was a steaming bowl of jollof rice with tender chunks of grilled chicken, the next, a spicy vegetable stew bursting with layers of hidden flavors. Rumors abounded. Some said Adisa's ingredients were imported from remote parts of Africa by secret networks, others whispered that she possessed magic, drawing on the spirits of the ancestors to enrich her dishes. While most customers marveled at the flavor and generosity of her portions, one vendor in the market, Mama Nia, could not hide her envy. For years, Mama Nia had sold her own traditional meals from a modest kiosk. But ever since Adisa arrived, Mama Nia's customers had dwindled. Customers who once praised Mama Nia's recipes now flocked eagerly to Adisa. One balmy night, after the market had quieted and the neon signs flickered softly in the darkness, Mama Nia's anger finally broke through. "How can one woman make such magical food?" she muttered bitterly as she locked her store. "It is not just a recipe, there is something evil at play." The following day, as the first light of dawn spread over the glass towers of Umoja, Mama Nia rose early with a heavy heart and a mind full of dark thoughts. The previous night's anger still burned within her. Determined to discover Adisa's secret, Mama Nia decided to follow her. Just as the market began to stir with morning vendors and the local news drones hovered overhead, Adisa set up her cart in her usual spot. Her presence was serene, her dark, braided hair neatly tied and her calm eyes scanning the crowd. Mama Nia, her face etched with jealousy and suspicion, discreetly tailed Adisa as she packed up after the day's work. Adisa walked through narrow back alleys behind the market until she reached a quiet, forgotten courtyard behind an old colonial building. There, under the soft glow of a single street lamp, she stopped in front of a tiny metal door decorated with ancient Adinkra symbols. Mama Nia crouched behind a refuse bin, watching as Adisa produced a small, worn key from her necklace and unlocked the door. Inside, the room was dim and sparse, but its walls were covered with colorful woven tapestries and old photographs of city life from decades past. Adisa set down her basket, then carefully prepared a large pot over a small charcoal burner. The scents were richer here, darker, with hints of herbs and spices that Mama Nia had never encountered at the market. In a corner, a small shrine flickered with the light of a burning candle, and faded handwritten notes in a language long forgotten lay scattered on a wooden table. As Mama Nia watched with bated breath, Adisa lifted a folded piece of cloth from the table. With delicate care, she unwrapped it to reveal what looked like a collection of antique herbs and relics, each one steeped in tradition and mystery. With a quiet incantation, Adisa dropped a handful of these herbs into the pot. The bubbling broth turned a deep, mysterious color, and, for a few long moments, the air seemed to thicken with the power of unseen forces. For Mama Nia, the sight was both mesmerizing and horrifying. It is not only a recipe, she whispered to herself, it is magic, and a dangerous magic at that. But before Mama Nia could flee, the sound of footsteps echoed behind her. She turned sharply to see a young man, his face kind yet determined, stepping out from the shadows. Mama Nia, he said softly. I know what you are thinking. Mama Nia's heart pounded in her chest. Who are you? She stuttered. My name is Kofi, he replied. I've watched you struggle to keep your stall afloat night after night. I have seen you worry that Adisa is not what she seems. I too have questions. But I believe there is more to her than dark magic. Kofi was a reporter for a local community radio station, a quiet observer and seeker of truth. He explained, I've heard the stories in whispers, that Adisa's food is not just nourishment but a blend of ancient ritual and modern care. That she uses recipes passed down through generations to heal and to help those in need. And that the envy of some arises not just from competition, but from fear of what they do not understand. Mama Nia's face, lined with resentment and pain, softened momentarily in confusion. Then why do I feel this cold dread, Kofi? Every time I look at Adisa, I see shadows and secrets. Kofi shook his head. The answers may be difficult, but tonight, I ask you to let me join you in uncovering the truth. Not to tear her down, but to understand her and to help ease the fears of this market. Reluctantly, Mama Nia agreed. Together, they retreated to an abandoned building nearby, where Kofi had set up a small recording station. They planned to spend the night keeping vigil, prepared to confront the mystery that shrouded Adisa. Late that night, under a starless sky heavy with humid warmth, Mama Nia and Kofi returned to the quiet courtyard behind the colonial building. Hidden among crates and old furniture, they waited. The market was silent now, its lights dimmed, its busy energy replaced by a hushed calm. After what seemed like an eternity, they saw a solitary figure making her way along the dark street. Adisa appeared, as quietly and gracefully as ever. She paused momentarily at the entrance to the courtyard, as if to check that no prying eyes were present, then re-entered through the metal door. Kofi and Mama Nia edged closer. They found a discreet spot where they could see the small kitchen area. Adisa lit the charcoal burner and placed the large pot on it. She carefully measured out a strange mix of dried herbs from a wooden box, a blend that glowed with an ethereal hue in the flickering firelight. Over her shoulder hung a locket that contained a tiny portrait of an elderly woman, whose warm smile spoke of times when community bonds were unbreakable and food was a way to heal the soul. As Adisa stirred the bubbling pot, Mama Nia's eyes widened. Slowly, she recognized symbols on the locket and on some of the cloth labels on the wooden box. These were the same symbols that adorned the old fabrics in Mama Nia's home, symbols of protection, healing, and unity among the people of Umoja. A memory stirred in her. Her grandmother once told her tales of a wise healer who cooked food to cure not only physical ailments but the sorrow of broken hearts. Before either of them could speak further, there was a sudden movement. A low, resonant voice whispered from the shadows, "Why do you spy on me in the night?" Adisa stood calmly, her eyes piercing the darkness. Kofi fumbled for the microphone he always carried, and Mama Nia's heart raced with dread. Adisa's tone was not angry but disappointed. "I trusted that my art, my gift, would bring people together. Yet here you are, driven by jealousy and suspicion." For a long moment, silence fell as the warm glow of the fire painted soft shadows on her lined face. Kofi, speaking slowly and clearly into his recorder, asked, "Adisa, we only want to know the truth. Your food brings such joy to the city, yet some fear it. Is there magic in your recipes? Adisa's eyes softened as she replied, magic is not always as you think. My recipes are gifts passed on to me by my elders. They taught me to see food as more than nourishment, for every ingredient is imbued with the spirit of our ancestors. I use these gifts to heal, to comfort, and yes, sometimes to punish those whose hearts are clouded by greed and envy. Mama Nia, trembling, found her voice. Then why do I feel such terror when I think of your food? She asked, her voice small yet trembling with sincerity. Adisa stepped forward and knelt beside Mama Nia. Gently, she placed a cool hand on Mama Nia's trembling shoulder. Fear comes when we do not understand. I do not create my dishes to steal your livelihood or to cast a shadow over your cooking. I only prepare meals to help a community that has seen much loss, to fill empty stomachs and broken hearts with both nourishment and a touch of hope. In that moment, Mama Nia's anger began to dissolve, replaced by an overwhelming sadness and regret. Kofi lowered the recorder. He felt the gravity of the exchange. I wanted to expose you, Mama Nia whispered, to reveal the dark secret behind your success. But all I see is a woman trying to honor traditions long forgotten, and heal the wounds of people who have lost their way. Adisa rose slowly, her expression compassionate. Mama Nia, she said softly, I know that envy can blind us. I share my food because I remember a time when every family celebrated together. I use the blessings of my ancestors not to harm, but to remind us of our common heritage, to show that food can be a bridge over troubled waters. A heavy silence followed. Outside, the distant sound of city traffic, the hum of neon lights, and the occasional call of a night vendor created a background murmur, a reminder that life in Umoja moved forward regardless of secrets and suspicions. Kofi then asked, what if someone misuses your gift, Adisa? What if the magic in your food creates fear instead of healing? Adisa smiled gently, a warm, sad smile. Every gift can be misused if taken for personal gain. But I have chosen a path of service, of feeding not just bodies, but souls. I cook to remind our people that behind every hardship is a chance for renewal. If my food ever brings harm, then my ancestors will have failed me. Her eyes sparkled with an inner fire, one that had seen both triumph and tragedy. Mama Nia, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, nodded slowly. I misjudged you, Adisa. I thought you were using dark magic to control the market, to weaken us. I was blinded by my own struggle and jealousy. She paused, taking a deep breath. I now understand that what I feared was not you, but the absence of tradition in our modern lives, a loss of connection with our past. In that exchange, a new understanding began to bloom. Kofi's recorder captured every word with the intent not to sensationalize, but to document a reconciliation of old ways with new realities. Mama Nia, driven by both humility and determination, decided that night to learn from Adisa. Show me your way, she implored, so I too may bring healing rather than rivalry. Adisa extended her hand, and Mama Nia accepted it with a trembling smile. Let us use our gifts together, she said, to serve our people and honor the ancestors. In the weeks that followed, the market of Umoja City began to change. Adisa and Mama Nia collaborated openly, combining their talents. Mama Nia, once a rival filled with jealousy and bitterness, now learned to infuse her dishes with the old recipes and traditions shared by Adisa. Together, they held community cooking sessions under the shade of city trees in a newly renovated open-air square, where anyone could learn how food, when made with heart and heritage, could mend divisions. Kofi's radio station aired weekly segments on traditional cooking techniques and the history behind each spice and herb. The segments spread far and wide, inspiring not only the citizens of Umoja but neighboring towns as well. The unity between the two women reassured many who had doubted the true nature of food and magic in the modern age. Still, whispers lingered among those who had once doubted. Some remembered how Momania had once tried to spy and expose Adisa. Others marveled at the transformation of a market where rivalry once reigned into one of celebration and unity. New customers flooded both stalls, tasting dishes that told stories of ancient healers and modern resilience. One humid afternoon, when the market was alive with the sounds of laughter and the clatter of utensils, the city's mayor, Ms. Akello, visited the square. Known for her modern approach but also for cherishing local traditions, she paused before a stall where Momania and Adisa walked side by side. "This is what Umoja needs," she declared to the gathered crowd. "A blending of old and new, where our roots give us strength and our future is bright." The mayor announced plans to feature the duo's work in a citywide cultural festival celebrating unity through food. Their story became a symbol of how envy and suspicion could be transformed into collaboration and mutual respect. The dishes they prepared, once thought to be the result of sinister magic, were now celebrated as a fusion of heartfelt tradition and innovative spirit. Kofi's broadcast reached every corner of the city, telling the story of how two women, once separated by rivalry, had found common ground in the shared love of food and heritage. His words resonated with listeners far and wide, sparking interest in restoring lost culinary traditions and even inspiring other vendors to share their family recipes. And so, as the city of Umoja embraced a future where modern life and ancient heritage coexisted in harmony, Momania looked out over the bustling market with grateful eyes. She remembered the dark night when fear had almost cost her everything. Now, every meal prepared and shared was a celebration, a healing act that mended not only hunger but hearts torn apart by mistrust. On the day of the cultural festival, under a clear blue sky and with the gentle drumbeat of traditional music echoing through the streets, Adisa and Momania stood together before an eager crowd. They prepared a grand feast that blended their unique styles. With every ingredient stirred, they honored their ancestors and their present community. The aroma of the food carried hope and promise, transforming old wounds into a bond that would hold the city together. Ms. Akello, addressing the crowd, said, "Today we remember that our strength lies in unity. Let the food we share remind us of our heritage, our perseverance, and the fact that we can overcome even the darkest shadows when we stand together." Cheers and claps filled the air. Kofi's voice, recorded and broadcast live, concluded the story. In the heart of Umoja, where modern dreams meet ancient legacies, food is not merely eaten, it is felt, remembered, and cherished. The festival ended with smiles, warm embraces, and a renewed spirit of community. In that moment, all doubts and fears were replaced by a common understanding that the magic in food was not in dark rituals or mysterious secrets, but in the love and shared memories that wove the fabric of every meal. And as the evening sky deepened to dusk, the neon lights of Umoja City shone brighter than ever, guiding every soul to a place where every bowl of soup, every bite of stew, carried with it the taste of healing, unity, and hope. Years later, long after the festival had become a cherished annual tradition, people still spoke of the night when two bitter rivals found friendship in the heart of Umoja. Children learned the recipes in school, and elders recalled the story with pride, reminding everyone that sometimes the scariest shadows conceal the most brilliant lights. Adisa's cart, now a symbol of hope, still parked at the center of the market every evening, and Mama Nia's kiosk, transformed into a place of learning, stood as testaments to a lesson learned, that understanding and compassion are far stronger than envy and fear. And in every dish served, in every shared meal, the legacy of an ancient magic, one of love, healing, and unity, lived on forever.